In the wake of the massive defeat of the Bolivarian government in Venezuela, it appears that Nicolas Maduro is beginning some kind of counter-strategy to the opposition. Now, he just recently called for his entire cabinet to resign. All of his people to just resign for a deep process of revision and self-criticism. Now, this could mean a lot of things. It could mean he's giving up. It could also mean that he's trying to restructure things in order to go along a more revolutionary path. He counted the defeat as a triumph of the counter-revolution and called for a special meeting of all 908 PSUV national delegates to evaluate the landslide defeat and prepare for next steps. He wants to make their posts available to initiate a process of restructuring, renovation, and relaunch of the entire national government. So this could mean any number of things. It could mean that he's trying to restructure the entire thing to go along a more revolutionary line. He could be having less radical people taken out and replaced with communists as opposed to the usual social democrats. It could mean that he's entirely giving up. We're not really sure what it means, but I think we can probably be sure that it's probably going to be a good thing. Like, he's at least going to be trying something to try to save the government from the position that it's in. Now, here's a pretty good example. The opposition has called the Venezuelan state television to be a gutter, basically because it doesn't support them. So what they're trying to do is use the National Assembly to take the state media away from the people who are running it right now and just like completely re-engineer it to be more pro to the opposition. So Maduro responded by essentially taking the state television and putting it in the hands of the actual workers, meaning the state now no longer controls the state media. It's now in the hands of the actual workers who have been putting it together all this time, which is a definite good sign, which means the opposition can't just march in there and take over because they have no authority to do so, because now technically it's a private company. He said, "We have evaluated the situation and came to the conclusion that we will hand over any AN TV and AN radio to the workers. You will be your own bosses." Now, in addition to this, there's been some new symbology coming out of his government. The Twitter account for Nicolas Maduro is now starting to include pictures of Stalin and Lenin, and these pictures keep reoccurring. He's tweeting pictures and quotes by the leaders of the Bolshevik Revolution, which in itself we would normally see as a very good thing, but we have to wonder how serious that actually is, given the fact that he's taken an entirely social democratic approach. At the very least, it's something positive, and it's going in the right direction. Now, what he's also doing is he's forcing most of the Supreme Court justices to resign. So they would end their posts. Essentially, what's probably going on here is that he's forcing them to resign and then reappointing them to the same position. So that way their tenure can begin all over again. So essentially what happens is that their terms as Supreme Court justices will extend beyond the life of the new assembly, meaning it'll be a little bit more stable for him. But what it fills me with at least some bit of hope is the statement that he knows that the government has to go in a new direction. A new stage must come in the Bolivarian Revolution with a new quality in our way of doing politics, in grassroots leadership, in the intermediate leadership, in the high-level public posts we occupy, in political party leaders, a new quality in our relation with the pueblo, a new quality of leadership and action. Something else that needs to be kept in mind is that despite this electoral defeat, a good 62% of Venezuelans consider themselves partisans or followers of the ideals of Hugo Chavez. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be revolutionary socialists, but it does let people know that they still support the accomplishments that the government has made. They may be very unhappy with the turn that they've made as a result of the sabotage by imperialists and internal forces, but they still want the benefits, they still want the increase in living standards, the minimum wages, the communes, and all that. They still want it. It's not necessarily revolution that they're losing confidence in. It's Maduro and his party that they're losing confidence in. And that's a significant thing to keep in mind, because that means a restructuring and a replanning is possible, because the people are still behind what it is the revolution is supposed to stand for. So that's really a good thing. Now, Atina Jimenez, who spoke to Venezuelan Analysis, said that she believes that the main problem with the Popular Socialist Party right now is that it's not connecting to the people that it's supposed to represent. It's kind of detached in that way. I mean, she's the one who founded the Red du Comuneros, the Communards Network, a nationwide network of 500 communes. There's a rupture within Chavismo between grassroots Chavismo and living through the most difficult situation of 16 years of revolution and the state and party leadership, which is one and the same. There's a big difference between what the base is feeling. The people are asking for a rectification and for a solution to the most basic problem we have, food. The government hasn't done enough to resolve this. As the popular movement, we have concrete plans for how to resolve this, and we've put this forward to Maduro, but unfortunately they haven't paid attention to this. In other words, it seems like the problem with the Maduro government, or with the Bolivarian revolution right now, is that the high party apparatus is disconnected from the people that are its grassroots support. In other words, it's a time like this that we return to the words of Mao to serve the people. One of the things that I think has happened here is that the Maduro government has gone so far into combating the attacks made by the imperialists, made by the internal right-wing forces, that he's lost sight of what serving the people means. And that the people themselves can come up with their own solutions. They have their own ways of dealing with the problems that come up in their lives when given the chance to investigate them and take care of them themselves. What this means is that these solutions are there, but his higher end of the party is not paying attention to them. Now, this is an error that every communist party has made at some point or another in their life. The main solution to this situation right now is for the Maduro government to start listening to the grassroots people, the 500 or so communes that still support his party and the goal of the Bolivarian revolution. In other words, there needs to be a restructuring of the top to support the bottom. There are ideas in the bottom that can be sent to the top that can solve this whole situation. And I think that's what the main thing that needs to be done here, given the new information that's been put out, particularly the statements by those who are from the communes, is that Maduro needs to reconnect to the masses, reconnect to the base from whence the Bolivarian revolution came from. And doing that, he would be able to re-strengthen all of the efforts to defend the Bolivarian revolution from the imperialists. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.